Hey, how's it going? My name's Joe, and today I want to talk about cultivating an internal source of happiness here on this beautiful snowy January day. So, internal happiness, what do I mean by that? What's external happiness? Well, I think that it's easy in today's culture to slip into seeking stimulation and happiness from the external environment. And so let's say you've got this job promotion coming up and you're really hoping to get it, you got this new job and you're hoping to move up the ranks and the promotion is on the way. You really feel that if I had that promotion, I would be so much happier. Or maybe let's say you're talking to some girl or some guy, and you think that they're really special and you're hoping that, something's going to work out with them, and you're thinking, oh man, if I could only date that person, I would feel so good. And you can think of it in numerous different ways. When I was a kid, I always thought, oh man, if I had that new toy or that new Pokemon card. And I think what you come to realize as you become an adult is that, these things are not necessarily the most satisfying. I might get the Pokemon cards, or you might get the promotion or whatever, but after you've got it, it's quite the fleeting sense of happiness, and it's almost as if that the next thing, what's the next thing? And I think it's easy to get caught in that. As a society, I think it's really easy to get caught in being continually stimulated. Whether it be, how people have fun. Oh, let's go see a movie. Let's sit there and be flashed images in our face, and then let's be stimulated. Or let's go get some food, and eating very high fat, sweet or salty food, and having it, stimulate you. And I don't think that's necessarily the best means to happiness or lasting satisfaction. And I don't think there's anything wrong, particularly with seeking accolades, or wanting a promotion, or looking for friends or spouses and that sort of thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just I don't think it's a lasting source of happiness. Anything in the external environment, I think, is subject to change, and because of that, you can't place your sense of self on that. So, what am I suggesting? Well, I'm suggesting that there are things, maybe in your habits, and also with your ways of thinking, that you can change or that you can implement that will create a sense of internal happiness, a sense of stability in a changing world. So what are some of these habits and some of these mindsets that you can implement? Well, I think that habits that you need to cultivate right off the bat is a good sleep schedule. I think that's incredibly important. There are so many studies that are done that talk about how your sleep schedule affects, the hormones that are going on in your head, the way that you're seeing the world. And let me tell you, if I haven't had enough sleep, the world looks a lot grayer than it actually is. So that's number one. And you can also look into things like, how much light are you getting in your room? It's really important to block out any extra light, and your room should be very, very dark when you're sleeping, because what happens is, especially the blue spectrum of light, or any kind of light, it inhibits melatonin production in your brain. So when you're staring at your phone right before bed, or you're on your computer, what happens is that blue light that you're seeing turns off your melatonin production, and that's going to help. That's going to stop you from getting to sleep, or developing a good night's sleep. So that's really important, is getting your sleep figured out. One of them that I think is really important is eating right. Getting lean sources of protein, avoiding high sugar, high fat. Having whole grains, vegetables, crazy important. And I'm not an expert on any of this, but I've read quite a few books on it. And one that you can check out is the UltraMind Solution by Mark Hyman. And he is a full-on supporter that the way that you eat and the way that you take care of your body, and even the supplements that you take or you don't take, really affect your state of mind. UltraMind Solution by Mark Hyman, very, very key book. Another one you want to really look into is exercise. So exercise is really important, I think, because not only the effect that it has on your body, keeping your organs healthy and your muscles strong, but also in the way that it affects your psyche. I'll often be worrying about, this or that about my day, and then I'll go into the gym, and immediately after the gym, and even throughout the workout, I start feeling better about everything. Not only does it give you a sense of accomplishment that you took action on something, but also I think it has a neurological sort of physical effect on your body, and I'm sure there's a lot of studies about this that have been done. But you just feel so much better afterwards, so much more clear thinking, and you feel like you can really handle what's being thrown at you. So I think that's important. Sleep, those are the main ones. Sleep, eating, while eating well, diet, and exercise. I think those are all very key. Things you can throw in there as well to create this ecosystem is, seeing friends, having a social circle, meeting new people. I think that's all very important. Face-to-face communication, I think, is very key. Andrew Weil, in his book Spontaneous Happiness, says that we've moved so far out of what we're genetically predisposed for, or disposition for, that it creates a disconnect, and because of that, our bodies aren't able to handle that. So things like talking to people through the phone or texting is not as fulfilling as actually having a real conversation, real face-to-face. At this point, we used to have the extended family living in the home, grandparents were around, aunts and uncles, and it's more and more you're seeing single-family households, and less face-to-face communication with technology and how it's progressed, and that really has an effect on our psyche as well. So I think that implementing face-to-face conversation, the phone is completely out of the room or turned off, we're able to really focus and be with the person, I think is really important. So we've gone over some of the external habits that I think are really key to creating this sort of internal sense of happiness, but I also want to look at some maybe mental or ways of thinking that are very helpful as well. One of them that has a lot of, I think, is a little more on the controversial side is meditation. A lot of people think that, that sounds very woo-woo or very religious, but I think that it can be in practice something very practical and removed from religion as well. Not that I have any problem with that, but what it is bringing you into the present moment, being able to appreciate where you are and eliminating a lot of the mental chatter that's going on in your head. And that's really important, I think, not only for the aspect of appreciation, but also for being able to be in the moment, I think, is incredibly important. And don't take my word for it, experience it yourself. And without getting too deep into it, I think it's incredibly important. I think a lot of things are incredibly important, you can see from this talk. In addition to meditation, I think that examining your belief systems is very important. Looking at what you think it means to live a happy life, what you think the beliefs that are holding you back, maybe I think you should examine, as well as self-talk. You want to really be monitoring that automatic voice in your head and what it's saying to you. I think that's important to acknowledge how your belief systems are influencing your self-esteem, number one, and also how your your self-talk is affecting your self-esteem as well. I think those are also very important. I think that it's incredibly important to wear thicker socks so that your toes aren't freezing off. I think that's incredibly important. So I've gone over some of the things that some of the habits that you can use to bolster your sense of internal happiness and create an ecosystem that's resistant to change. There's so many things that you could be focusing on in the external world that may or may not work out, but you know that you've always got this sense of these habits, these things that you're doing that you're able to rely on. I think that really helps you out. If you don't get the job, or school's going rough, or what have you, whatever other change in the environment, you're able to fall back on your group of friends and going to the gym, and the fact that you're eating right, giving you clearer thought processes, and eliminating that negative self-talk and bolstering your sense of self-esteem in that way. I think that makes you incredibly more resilient, and I definitely think that creating a lasting sense of self-esteem, a lasting sense of satisfaction, and greater happiness, I think, is definitely within your reach and easily implemented with consistent habits. So thank you for watching this video, and I know I was all over the place, and I'll definitely go into more depth on these topics in later talks. But anyway, thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.